So in the last section, we saw how to set up state with React hooks and the useState hook. In this section, we'll see how to set up state with the useReducer hook. And let's also create 2 new actions to work with the useContext hook. Let's go in our action types file and create a user input change in user input submit action type. Next in our actions file, let's create 2 new action creators to handle these action types. Let's just copy and paste your code to make it easier for ourselves. And remember to pass in text as a parameter and then set a payload property to text. And next we need to create a reducer to work with these actions. So in the hook state directory, we can create a new reducer. And again, to save time, we can just copy and paste the code from our original hooks reducer. In our initial state in this reducer, let's create 2 properties called userTextChange and userTextSubmit. And let's change the name of the reducer to useReducer, and also let's pass in the action types that we set up in the last step. We are now done setting up the reducer and actions, and we can now import them into our hooks form. Next, we can pass in our useReducer to the useReducer hook in the same way we've seen before. And remember, it's a useReducer.useReducer. Next, let's create 2 new functions that will handle dispatching actions and changing our state. So let's call them handle useReducerChange and handle useReducerSubmit. And then we can pass in dispatch and then actions.userInputChange. And userInputChange accepts a parameter of text, so we can pass in event.target.value, which holds the value of the text that we want to save to the state. And remember, the submit reducer will take event.target.userReducer.value. And again, remember, user input change is the name of our action creator. Next, in our render method, we will set up the form in the exact same way that we did with the useState hook. Simply copy and paste and then change everywhere it says useState to useReducer. And also remember to pass in the correct function references to onSubmit and onChange. And then let's also display the state for useReducer in the UI the same way we did with useState. And again, to save time, just copy and paste. And again, remember, these properties are coming from the initial state we set in the useReducer. Do userState.userTextChange and userTextSubmit. And let's also change dispatch to userDispatch, since that is the variable name we set in our useReducer call. And let's just look through our files and see if there's any typos. And yes, action types.userInputSubmit is spelled wrong, so let's just fix it really quick. And we also have a couple back in our hooks form. Let's add event.preventDefault and also change setValueChange to setValueSubmit. So this should be it. Let's save and test. As we type, we see, yes, it is working as expected. Submit does not follow change and it stays the way it should. Perfect.